President Trump made his own views on Confederate monuments abundantly clear today, posting a series of 3 tweets complaining that America's history and culture are being ripped apart. But the president may already be behind the curve as communities take action on their own. Cities like Lexington, Kentucky, where this evening the city council is slated to vote on removing 2 of its Confederate monuments. The measure is likely to pass, but that doesn't mean the decision was quick or easy.
For 2 years, Lexington Mayor Jim Gray has moderated a debate over the city's 2 Confederate statues. But Charlottesville inspired him to accelerate efforts to move them.
Right, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're going to keep the statues. We're just going to relocate them.
What was happening here in your office the day that the Charlottesville news broke out?
We met here and we began discussing our response because we knew that a response was really necessary.
Mayor Gray has worked to transform the city's downtown area into a welcoming visitor center. But the grounds come with a contentious history. So what does this space represent?
This is Cheapside, and it's really sacred ground. It's a site where, up until the Civil War, slaves were auctioned. One of the largest slave auction sites in the South. So what you have is 2 Confederate men who fought to preserve slavery, standing on the same ground as men, women, and children were sold into slavery. And I looked at that, others looked at that and said, this is just not right.
So what do you say in response to the folks who say to you, actually removing these 2 statues amounts to the erasure of history?
Well, that's not true because our plan is to relocate these statues and put them in a proper context where the truth will be told that the Civil War was fought over slavery.
For the people fighting to keep these monuments up, slavery is just a footnote.
I'll send this to you.
Billy Sessions and James Delbrock call themselves highwaymen on a cross-country tour to protest the removal of Confederate monuments. They were in Charlottesville this weekend for the protests.
I say, leave the monuments where they be. If someone wants to put up a monument of an African man, there's a spot right there, put it right there.
Do you ever have a second thought or feel a little bad about
I feel like I would rather
monuments
be
that white supremacists love too?
It does not stand for white supremacy. You can ask and ask and ask.
What do you both think are the actual consequences of moving Confederate monuments? Like, what happens if a year from now?
It's a slippery slope.
Basically, it's not really about the Confederate monuments totally. When you start removing them, it ain't stopping with these.
They're attacking Christians.
This is just the first step.
They're attacking everything. It's American and American history, American rights.
Outside influence aside, the debate among people in Lexington has been civil.
Would you like a poster for the game?
At a Tuesday night work session, the city council heard from people on both sides.
And I like your leadership in the city, but I'm going to have to disagree with your stance on this issue. Jefferson, Washington, we can't erase the history of those men as slave owners, but we should remember them because Confederate history is American history.
As an African American, I can't change the color of my skin. Those of you who are not black or not of any color other than white, put yourselves in my shoes. Let's pretend that you're the victim of an abuser. And basically that's what they represent to us. Would you like for the abuser to be honored?
Do you think everyone can replicate the actions of Lexington, Kentucky?
I think standing up and speaking out on issues about our values, that's a responsibility of leaders. I don't think what I'm doing is anything unusual. It just happens to be, it's on my watch. And sometimes, that's just where it lands.